Black Power, Black Beauty, Black by popular demand. This is Black's History Month, a 28-day celebration of Black exploitation films. And now for a different kind of story. A story about love, young love, thug love. The movie MMA, or Black Sisters Revenge as it's sometimes called, is kind of a women's empowerment movie, but in a different way than black movies around this time use black women. I think MMA is a better title because I like the character, and I think her name deserves to be the focus. Emma May, played by Jerry Hayes in her one and only movie, isn't a street smart ass kicker or a special agent like the Pam Griers and the Tamara Dobsons of the world. She's just a regular girl from the South who moves from Mississippi to California following the death of her mother. She moves in with her aunt, who also shares the home with her husband and Emma's 3 cousins. Make a mental note of how the cousins look. We'll come back to that. Emma is completely out of place in the big city. You know the old tired trope. Country bumpkin comes to the city and is too dumb to know about even the simplest things. I usually hate it, but it plays well into the story. The 2 older cousins have boyfriends, and to not make Emma feel left out, they introduce her to a guy named Jesse, who Emma immediately falls in love with. When I say immediately, I mean like within 5 minutes. Eventually, Jesse goes to jail, and just like Pastor Troy and Rhonda, she stands shown up by her man. The whole rest of the movie revolves around their relationship and Emma May trying to bail him out. And it's one of those movies that's hard to talk about without giving away the entire story, so I'ma just focus on the highlights. What I like about Emma is even though she's a little naive, she's not weak at all. She's written to be a tough, ask questions later type of woman. And I think we all knew a girl like this growing up. Always in fights, but yet always wins them too. Oh, and she ain't just fighting women. The men get it too.
Come on, you doodle girl. Come on.
Emma don't give a f***. She quickly becomes a natural leader, not just organizing a car wash to raise money to bail Jesse out, but starting a whole car wash business out of an old rundown building. When that doesn't work out, Emma resorts to robbing a bank, quite the leap, and something that Emma plans herself. Ladies, if your love doesn't involve you holding up the nearest Wells Fargo, then I don't want it. All jokes aside, the things Emma is willing to go through to get Jesse out is a little far-fetched, especially since he was introduced to Emma and the audience as a pill-addicted loser. For some reason, he commands respect from the community, so much so that they're all working hard to get him out. But why? It's not like he's some political prisoner or something. They're giving speeches and stuff for this dude.
We shouldn't be fighting each other. The enemy is out there. All we want to do is get Jess and Zeke out. So let's act like it.
What do you think you're doing every time you pick up a gun and get the so-called gang war with your own people over turf? Something don't none of you own, because the white man owns it. That's right. The white man owns every nook and every cranny, every alley and every freeway, every city and every goddamn swamp. The white man owns it. Why? Because he got up off of his ass and took it.
That last one was right before they robbed the bank, by the way. That dude starts sweating like he's giving out the gospel according to Jesse. Emma May tries to make a statement about living in the hood and police brutality, but it's buried underneath all the actions that don't align with that message. Despite that, and the weird motivations, Emma May is a good and enjoyable movie, especially the ending, which I think had some emotional weight to it. The movie's one and only flaw is the mild colorism that it shows. Emma May is a darker skinned girl, and since she's darker than her super light cousins, comments are constantly being made about her attractiveness, or lack thereof. Personally, I think she's plenty pretty, so I don't get that. The only reason she's pawned off on Jesse the junkie is because apparently nobody else wanted her. The movie makes it seem like she is the way she is and is so rough around the edges because she's a dark-skinned woman, which I've always hated. It's not as blatant as some other films from the past, but it's noticeable. Emma May was directed by Jamal Fanica, and I've talked about 2 of his other films before. One was Welcome Home Brother Charles, and the other was the First Penitentiary movie. Both are decent but flawed movies. and MMA was his first film. For a first movie, MMA is pretty damn good. It's easy to overlook the small issues with it because MMA herself is so likable, and as a character, she's easy to get behind.